All right, verses 24 through 27, and then we'll wrap it up tonight. It says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." Now, this is a familiar story for most of us. Jesus tells of two men building two homes on two different foundations and two storms. What do you think the houses represent in this story? Our lives. Our lives. Yeah. The house is the whole of us. The whole of us. Our job, our marriage, our kids, our relationships, our friends, the way we spend our time, the way we spend our money, all of those things. All of those things. What do you think the storms represent? Any kind of difficulty, any kind of stress, any kind of failure, any kind of hardship, heartache, sickness, any of those things that break in on our life. What is the rock that the wise man builds on? Putting the word of Christ into practice. Now, what is the sand that the foolish man builds on? There you go. Here's the word, but does not put it into practice. The solid foundation for our lives is living out the word of Christ. The non-solid foundation for our lives is not putting into practice the words of Christ. Notice the issue isn't knowing the Word of God. The issue isn't memorizing the Word of God, although those are good things and important things. No, the issue is whether or not we are living or striving to live out Christ's teachings. That's the rock. And you all said exactly what I thought you would say, because that's what we usually think. What's the rock? Oh, Jesus is the rock. No. Putting into practice the teachings of Christ is the rock. Let me close with one statement written by Larry Chenard in his commentary on Matthew. He says, "Jesus demands a righteousness that encompasses the whole person and that results in doing the will of God."